Didn't know was that her dying father had been watching, waiting, planning. For 3 years, while cancer ate away at his body, Frank Morrison had been conducting the most important investigation of his life. Not for the police, not for the FBI, but for his daughter. Bank records, offshore accounts, criminal partnerships worth millions. Evidence that would either set Rebecca free or get them both killed. Because Marcus Thompson wasn't just a controlling husband, he was something far more dangerous. And when cornered men like Marcus realize they're about to lose everything, they don't just let go. They destroy what they can't control. But Frank Morrison had taught his daughter one thing Marcus had forgotten. Sometimes the quietest people are the most dangerous. This is the story of a father's love, a daughter's courage, and the last words that changed everything. Stay with me, because what happens next will make you believe that it's never too late to fight back. The papers fell like snow, white fragments scattered across the hospital floor as Marcus Thompson smiled down at his dying father-in-law. The sound of tearing echoed through the hospice room. "You'll never leave me, Becca," Marcus said. His voice carried sweet poison. "Not while I control everything." Rebecca Thompson knelt beside her father's bed. Her hands shook as she watched 22 years of courage dissolve into confetti. The divorce papers she'd hidden for weeks. Her only chance at freedom. Frank Morrison lay dying. 74 years reduced to beeping machines and the smell of antiseptic. His weathered hands rested on white blankets. "Dad," Rebecca whispered. Frank's fingers squeezed hers 3 times. Their childhood signal. "I love you." Marcus straightened his $5,000 suit. "Did you really think I'd let you embarrass me like this, sweetheart?" "My father is dying," Rebecca said quietly. "Perfect timing." Marcus pulled the manila envelope from her purse. He'd been watching her, always watching. He began tearing methodically, each rip deliberate, the sound cut through medical equipment humming. 22 years of marriage, Marcus said. "All those years I provided for you." "You gave me a prison," Marcus laughed, sharp, cold. "A prison? You haven't worked in 15 years. Drive a car I bought. Live in a house I own." Frank's breathing changed, shallower. The monitors beeped warnings. "Stop," Rebecca said. "Stop what? Protecting my family?" White pieces drifted like funeral ash. Rebecca watched her escape disappear fragment by fragment. "You can't stop me forever." Can I? Who'll hire a 44-year-old woman with no experience? How will you afford rent? A lawyer? Each question landed like a blow, designed to wound, to remind her of dependence. Frank's eyes opened, pale blue, still sharp despite morphine. He looked at scattered papers, then at Marcus. "Hello, Dad," Marcus said, his voice shifting to public politeness. "Sorry about the mess. Your daughter had unrealistic ideas." Frank's gaze moved to Rebecca. His lips moved behind the oxygen mask. No sound. But she understood. "Be strong, Becca Bird." The childhood nickname hit like a wave. When had Marcus last called her anything with tenderness? "I need air," she said. Marcus grabbed her wrist, fingers pressed against delicate bones. Not hard enough to bruise, never enough to leave marks, but firm enough to show who held power. "You're not going anywhere." Frank's hand moved. Press the call button. "Dad?" Rebecca leaned closer. Frank's voice was barely audible. "The box." "Ha ha. What box?" Marcus demanded. Frank closed his eyes. His breathing grew labored. The door opened. Jennifer Walsh stepped inside. Rebecca's best friend. A nurse here. Jen's eyes took in everything. Scattered papers. Marcus's grip. Tension crackling. "Everything all right?" Jen asked. "Just family matters, Mom," Marcus said. "I see." Jen checked Frank's vitals. "Mr. Morrison, how are you feeling?" Frank's eyes opened. Found Jen's face. "Need to talk to my daughter. Alone." Each word took enormous effort. "Of course," Jen said. "Perhaps everyone else could step outside?" Marcus didn't move. "I'm family." "Blood family," Frank wheezed. "Need my daughter." The distinction was sharp as a blade. Marcus's face darkened, but he couldn't argue with a dying man's wishes. "5 minutes," he said. Jen waited until Marcus left. Honey, what happened to those papers? My husband happened. I see. Years of friendship in those words. How are you doing? When had anyone last asked her that? I don't know. Frank's hand found hers. Despite morphine, despite approaching death, still strong. Becca Bird, he whispered. Under the stairs. Remember. What's under the stairs? Frank's eyes closed, medication pulling him towards sleep. Marcus returned exactly 5 minutes later. Always precise. Control extended to every detail. Ready to go home? Home. The word felt hollow. When had their house stopped feeling like home? I want to stay with Dad. He's sleeping. Come back tomorrow. Not a suggestion. Marcus didn't make suggestions. Rebecca stood slowly, legs unsteady, years of weight pressing her shoulders. Bye, Dad. Frank's eyes opened once more. Box, he mouthed. Marcus guided her toward the door. Gentle, possessive, iron fist in velvet glove. In the hallway, Rebecca turned back. Jen stood watching, her expression carefully neutral, but her eyes held understanding. The understanding that came from seeing too many women in similar situations. Marcus guided her to the elevator, hand on her arm, steering. Even her movement belonged to him. You embarrassed me tonight. The elevator doors opened. Inside, his mask slipped. If you try something like that again, there will be consequences. What consequences? Marcus smiled. You really want to find out? Ground floor, parking garage, silent drive home in his BMW. Rebecca caught her reflection in the window. 44 years old, still young enough to start over. But with what? Marcus was right about her vulnerability. No work experience, no money, no escape. Or was there? Under the stairs. Remember, what had Frank hidden? What secret had her dying father risked Marcus's anger to share? Tomorrow she would find out. Rebecca sat in the master bathroom at 3 a.m. Marble floor cold against bare feet. She stared at her reflection. I married a monster. The thought hit like ice water. How had she not seen it before? She had seen it. She'd spent 22 years making excuses, telling herself Marcus's control came from love, that his jealousy meant he cared. She'd been gaslighting herself. Her phone buzzed. A text at 3:17. Jen, can't sleep either. Call me. When had she stopped having friends she could call at 3 a.m? She crept to the kitchen, called Jen. Hey, Jen's voice was soft. How are you holding up? I don't know. Rebecca opened the refrigerator, stared at perfectly organized shelves. Everything Marcus approved of. When did I become invisible? You're not invisible. You're buried. What do you mean? The Becca I knew in college was fierce, independent. She had opinions about everything. That Becca's gone. No, she's underground, like your father's secret. The words hit something deep. Underground, like whatever Frank had hidden. Jen, have you ever noticed anything strange about my marriage? Long pause. What kind of strange? The way Marcus treats me, controls everything. Rebecca, Jen's voice became careful. How long has this been going on? What? The control, the isolation, the financial manipulation. Rebecca's hand shook. You noticed. I've been worried for years, but every time I tried to bring it up, you changed the subject. The recognition was complete, undeniable. I've been so stupid. No, you've been surviving. Rebecca walked to the window, looked at the manicured yard, professional landscaping. Nothing wild, nothing growing where it shouldn't. He tore up my divorce papers tonight, right in front of my dying father. Jesus, Rebecca. And you know the worst part? I felt grateful he waited until Dad was unconscious. That's not your fault, isn't it? I chose this. I stayed. Stop. Nurse voice, authority. You're not weak. You're trauma bonded. Your nervous system adapted to survive. He's never hit me. Physical abuse isn't the only kind. The words hung in air. Abuse. Rebecca had never thought of her marriage in those terms. Financial control is abuse. Isolation is abuse. Destroying your legal documents is abuse. Each word landed like a blow. Years of denial cracking. I can't leave him. I have nothing. That's exactly what he wants you to believe. Rebecca's phone buzzed. Marcus, where are you? Come back to bed. Her body tensed. How had he known? I have to go. Rebecca, wait. You're not alone. When you're ready to leave, there are resources. What if I'm never ready? You will be. Tonight was the first step. Rebecca ended the call, deleted the conversation. Marcus checked her phone sometimes. She climbed stairs quietly, house creaking around her. Marcus was awake. Where were you? Couldn't sleep. Got water. He rolled toward her, arm across her waist, possessive even in sleep. Bad dreams? Something like that. You'll feel better tomorrow, after we talk. The promised conversation about boundaries. Rebecca's stomach clenched. Marcus's conversations were lectures, lessons in submission. What are we going to talk about? Your behavior, your responsibilities, your future, my future, as if it belonged to him. Marcus's breathing grew regular. Sleep came easily to him. Rebecca lay awake staring at the ceiling. The recognition was complete. She was trapped in a marriage slowly killing her soul. But Frank had left something, a message, a clue, under the stairs. Tomorrow she would go to her childhood home, find what her father had hidden. Maybe finally she would find a way out of this beautiful prison. 4:37. In hours, sun would rise. Marcus would go to work, Grace to school, and Rebecca would go home, to the house where she learned what real love looked like, where her escape might be waiting. The key still fit. Rebecca stood on her childhood home's porch, holding the brass key her mother had given her. Just in case, Sarah had said. The house looked smaller, working class modest, vinyl siding needing paint. So different from Marcus's mansion, so much more like home. The door opened with familiar squeak. The sound transported her instantly. 7 years old running inside after school, 16 sneaking past curfew, 22 bringing Marcus home. The memory hit like a physical blow. Frank's face when she'd introduced Marcus. That tiny frown he'd tried to hide. The handshake lingering too long, sizing up the man who wanted his daughter. He seems successful, Frank had said later. Dad, he's wonderful. He'll take care of me. Frank's pause. You can take care of yourself, Becca Bird. You always could. She dismissed his concern. Marcus was charming, wealthy, everything a father should want. Except Frank had seen something she'd missed. The house smelled like childhood. Lavender sachets, coffee brewed too long, older home mustiness, not antiseptic perfection. This smelled lived in, loved. Rebecca walked through the living room, everything exactly as remembered. Frank's recliner, Sarah's knitting basket, family photos everywhere. She paused at her wedding photo, Marcus in expensive tuxedo, Rebecca in silk that cost more than her parents' mortgage. Both smiling. Looking closer, she saw truth. Marcus's smile was triumphant, the expression of someone who'd won a prize. Her smile looked strained, like she was convincing herself. Age 7, Frank teaching her to change tires, patient voice explaining each step. Independence, Becca Bird. Never depend on anyone to rescue you. You've got everything you need. Tapping her forehead, her heart. What if I get scared? Then you'll be scared and independent. Fear doesn't make you weak. Giving up your power does. When had she given up her power? Age 16, walking to the car after heartbreak. Tommy Kellerman had dumped her. Frank's arm around her shoulders. Real love builds you up, honey. It never tears you down. If someone makes you feel small, that's not love. How do you know the difference? Love makes you more yourself. Everything else makes you less. Less. That's what she'd become. Less confident, less independent, less alive. Age 22. Morning after Marcus's proposal. She called off their engagement 3 times. Frank finding her in the kitchen at dawn. Having second thoughts? I don't know. Frank poured coffee, sat beside her. What does your gut tell you? That I should be grateful. He's offering everything. What about what you're offering him? What do you mean? Marriage should be 2 people making each other better. But she'd been tired of struggling. Student loans, tiny apartment, teaching salary barely covering expenses. Marcus offered security. She'd mistaken a cage for safety. Rebecca climbed to her childhood bedroom. Twin bed with faded pink comforter, bookshelf full of novels, horse posters, time capsule of who she'd been before Marcus. On the dresser sat college graduation photo, arms around Jen and roommates, all laughing. Rebecca stared at her younger self. Confidence in posture, genuine joy. When had she stopped laughing like that? Her phone buzzed. Marcus. Where are you? Grace needs piano lesson ride. Grace was 16, had her own car. But Marcus liked Rebecca to drive her. She typed back, at mom and dad's, going through dad's things. I'll pick up Grace, don't stay long. We need to talk. The conversation about boundaries, about consequences. Rebecca put the phone away. She was here for a reason. Under the stairs. She walked to the basement door. Stairs creaked under her weight. Familiar sounds. Nothing like Marcus's silent perfection. Finished basement, paneled walls from the 70s, concrete floor with carpet remnants, Frank's workshop, Sarah's laundry area. Under the stairs, a storage space she'd forgotten. Rebecca knelt in concrete, pulled away Christmas decorations and winter clothes. Behind everything, tucked in the deepest corner, was a gray metal filing box. Heavy, substantial, locked. On top, taped to the lid, was a manila envelope with her name in Frank's handwriting. Becca Bird. Inside was a key and folded paper. If you're reading this, it means I'm gone and you finally decided to leave him. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. I know how hard this must be. I've been watching, waiting, hoping you'd find your strength again. The woman I raised is still there. She just needs the right tools. Everything in this box is yours. Use it wisely. Love, Dad, P.S. I bought you a house, 1247 Maple Street. The deed is in the box. You've always had a place to go. Rebecca's hands trembled, reading the letter again. Frank had bought her a house? When? How? She used the key. Inside were manila folders, bank statements, legal documents. On top, a thick folder labeled Marcus Thompson, Financial Crimes. Rebecca opened with shaking hands. Bank records, offshore accounts, wire transfers, all with Marcus's name, all detailing activities that looked wrong. Shell companies in Delaware, Cayman accounts, partnerships with businesses she didn't recognize, Kozlov Holdings, Meridian Financial Services. How had Frank gotten these? When? Why? Financial records going back 3 years. The same 3 years Frank had been selling his house, liquidating retirement accounts, building something, building her a bridge to freedom. Another folder. Trust account, Rebecca Morrison Thompson. Bank statements showing deposits. $5,000 monthly for 3 years. Frank's retirement checks, Social Security, factory pension. Instead of enjoying final years, Frank had been saving every penny for her escape. Account balance. $180,000. Not a fortune, but enough. Enough to live independently. Hire a lawyer. Start over. Her phone rang. Marcus. She let it go to voicemail. Rebecca, I expect you home within the hour. This grieving widow act is getting old. Your father is dead. Time to move on. The cruelty was breathtaking. Even in death, Frank threatened Marcus's control, because Frank had given her something Marcus couldn't take away. Options. Rebecca gathered files, put everything in the box, loaded it into her car. 1247 Maple Street. She programmed GPS, 7 minutes away. The house was small, 1940s bungalow with front porch and oak trees. Nothing like Marcus's mansion. Everything like home. Realtor's lockbox on the door. Inside, another key, another note. Bought this 2 years ago when the Hendersons moved. Cash purchase, no mortgage. It's yours, free and clear. Ready whenever you are. Spare key under ceramic turtle by back door. Sarah knows about the house, but not the investigation. Keep her safe. I love you, Becca Bird. Fly. Rebecca unlocked the door, stepped into her new life. Perfect house. Hardwood floors, built-in bookshelves. Kitchen with white cabinets and simple granite. Not expensive granite. Functional. beautiful. Master bedroom had new furniture, bed made with fresh sheets, towels in bathroom, basic dishes in kitchen. Everything needed to start over. Frank had thought of everything. Her father hadn't just given her evidence of Marcus's crimes. He'd given her complete escape plan, financial independence, place to live, tools to build new life. All she needed was courage to use them. Phone buzzed. Marcus, come home now. Rebecca stared at the message. Then for the first time in 22 years, she typed truth. No, and turned off her phone. Rebecca sat in her new kitchen at 1247 Maple Street. The house felt different in daylight, brighter, more real, like possibility made tangible. She'd spent the night here, first night away from Marcus in 22 years. She'd expected panic, fear, regret. Instead, she'd slept better than she had in months. Her phone had 17 missed calls, 12 voicemails, 23 texts, all from Marcus. The progression was predictable. Anger, threats, manipulation, fake concern, more threats, silence. Marcus was calculating his next move. Rebecca opened Frank's files again. In daylight, the evidence looked more damning. Financial crimes, money laundering, business partnerships with questionable organizations. Her phone rang. Jen. Oh my God, Rebecca, are you okay? Marcus called the hospital looking for you. Said you'd had a breakdown. Controlling the narrative, making her the problem. I'm fine, better than fine. I found what Dad left me. Rebecca told her everything, the house, bank account, evidence of Marcus's crimes. Jen listened, occasionally gasping. Jesus, Rebecca, your father was conducting a full investigation. For 3 years. While dying, he was building my way out. What will you do? I'm not going back. Good, but be careful. Men like Marcus don't just let go. When they lose control, they escalate. Car pulled into driveway. Marcus's BMW. Black, sleek, expensive. He's here. Want me to call police? Not yet. Let me see what he wants. Rebecca hung up. Watched through kitchen window as Marcus got out. Charcoal suit, perfectly pressed, his armor of respectability. He didn't knock. Tried front door, locked, walked around back, also locked, then began knocking. Polite first, then louder, pounding. Rebecca, open this door. We need to talk. She didn't move. Just watched through window. Marcus's mask began slipping, voice growing sharper. I know you're in there. Your car's in the driveway. Stop being childish. Childish. Any behavior he didn't approve of was childish. You're embarrassing yourself. Come home and we'll forget this happened. Forget. Marcus's solution to every conflict was amnesia. I'll give you 5 minutes. Then I'm calling police, reporting you as mentally unstable. The threat beneath concern. Marcus's ultimate weapon. He had connections, influence, money, but Frank had given her weapons too. Rebecca opened the back door. Marcus smiled when he saw her, triumphant. There you are, let's go home. Grace is worried. I'm not coming home. Marcus's smile faltered. Don't be ridiculous. I want a divorce. We've been through this. You can't afford divorce. Can't afford anything without me. Rebecca stepped onto back porch. Actually, I can. She told him about bank account, house, Frank's planning. With each revelation, Marcus's face grew darker. That manipulative old bastard. Even dead, he's trying to control you. He's not controlling me. He's freeing me. Free? Marcus laughed ugly. You think 100,000 makes you free? I spend more on your clothes. 180,000. And yes, it's enough. Marcus stepped closer. Voice dropped to serious threat tone. You're being emotional, irrational. Grief has clouded your judgment. My judgment is perfectly clear. Is it? Because you look like a middle-aged woman having a breakdown, abandoning her family. Each word chosen for maximum damage, painting her incompetence, building case for why she couldn't be trusted. I'm not abandoning anyone. Grace is almost 18. Tommy's in college. When their friends find out their mother ran away, when they have to explain why mommy couldn't handle being an adult, turning escape into abandonment, freedom into failure. You're gaslighting me. Marcus's eyes narrowed. I'm what? Gaslighting. Making me question reality? Making me think I'm crazy for wanting basic dignity. Where did you learn that term? Suspicion. Marcus didn't like when she used words he hadn't taught her. I've been learning many things. Honor. From who? That nurse friend? Has she been filling your head with feminist nonsense? As if wanting equality was radical ideology. Jennifer didn't tell me anything I didn't know. She helped me name it. Marcus's control was slipping. She could see it in his posture. Clenched hands. Tightness around eyes. You're making a mistake. I've given you everything. And this is how you repay me? I didn't ask for those things. I wanted a partner, not a warden. A warden? Voice rising. I protected you, provided for you, loved you. You owned me. There's a difference. Owned you? He was shouting. You ungrateful. He stopped himself, but the word hung between them. Ungrateful bitch. How many times had he swallowed that phrase? Go ahead, say it. Call me what you really think I am. Marcus straightened his tie. Smoothed hair, mask sliding back. I think you're confused, grieving, making decisions you'll regret. But she'd seen behind the mask, seen the rage, the contempt for any woman who dared challenge his authority. I need you to leave. I'm not going anywhere, not until you come to your senses. Then I'll call police. And tell them what? That your husband is concerned? Trying to help his mentally unstable wife? The mental health threat again. Marcus's nuclear option. But Rebecca wasn't afraid anymore. Frank's evidence had given her leverage. I'll tell them about offshore accounts. Marcus went very still. What offshore accounts? Cayman Islands, Delaware shell companies, partnerships with Kozlov Group. All color drained from Marcus's face. I don't know what you're talking about. Dad documented everything. 3 years of investigation, bank records, photographs, wire transfers. Your father was a sick old man with delusions. Was he? Because it looks pretty real to me. 22 years of marriage reduced to this moment. Recognition of what they'd really been. Predator and prey. You don't know what you're playing with, Marcus said finally, don't I? Those people don't play games, Rebecca. If you start making accusations, are you threatening me? I'm protecting you, like I always have. But his protection had always been control, another way to keep her dependent. I don't need your protection anymore. Marcus looked at the house, her car, evidence of independence. This isn't over. Yes, it is. No. Absolute certainty. You're my wife, my family, mine, and I don't give up what's mine. He walked to his car, started engine. Before driving away, rolled down window. You have 24 hours to come home. After that, things get complicated. BMW disappeared down Maple Street. Rebecca stood on back porch, watching until taillights vanished. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, from fury. 22 years of her life, given to a man who saw her as property, who threatened her when she tried to leave. But Frank had given her more than money and evidence. He'd given her truth, and truth was the most powerful weapon of all. Darkness came early to Maple Street. Rebecca sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by Frank's files. Evidence of Marcus's crimes spread like puzzle pieces she was finally understanding. Her phone had been silent 3 hours. Since Marcus's ultimatum. 24 hours to come home, 18 hours remaining. She'd called Grace earlier. Her 16-year-old daughter sounded confused. Hurt. Daddy says you're sick, that you need to come home and rest. I'm not sick, sweetheart. I'm figuring things out. About what? About us? Pain in Grace's voice was a physical blow. Her daughter didn't understand. Grace had grown up seeing only the version of Marcus he wanted her to see. It's not about you and Tommy. It's about me and your father. Are you getting divorced? The question hung between them. Grace needed honesty. But how much truth could a 16-year-old handle? I don't know yet. Maybe. Is it because of me? Because I crashed the car last month? Oh, honey, no. This has nothing to do with you. This is about your father and me growing apart. Growing apart. Gentle way to describe 22 years of psychological imprisonment. Daddy's really upset. He's been on phone all day, with lawyers and stuff. Of course, Marcus was building his defense, gathering resources, preparing for war. Grace, I need you to know something. No matter what happens, I love you. That will never change. Then come home, please. Everything feels weird without you. Rebecca had ended the call with promises to talk soon. But how could she explain that the home Grace loved was a prison? Now alone in gathering darkness, Rebecca faced the hardest question. What if she was wrong? The thought crept in like poison. Marcus's voice in her head, even when he wasn't there. What if she was overreacting? What if grief had clouded her judgment? What if Frank's investigation was paranoid delusion? She picked up a bank statement, studied account numbers, wire transfers, amounts that didn't make sense for a legitimate real estate business. But what did she really know about high-level finance? What did a former elementary teacher understand about international banking? Maybe these transactions were normal. Maybe she was seeing crimes where none existed. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe she was having a breakdown. The doubt settled like a familiar blanket, warm, comforting, easier than facing the possibility that her entire adult life had been built on lies. Her phone rang. Tommy. Mom. What's going on? Dad called me at school. He sounds worried about you. Her son's voice was deeper now, 19 years old. A man, but she could hear the little boy. I'm okay, sweetheart. Working through some things. Dad says you left, that you're staying somewhere else. Temporarily, yes. Are you guys getting divorced? Same question Grace had asked. Direct, honest. Tommy had always been like that. It's possible. Silence. Then, is he why you stopped teaching? The question surprised her. What do you mean? You loved teaching. When I was little, you'd come home with stories about students. You'd spend hours making lesson plans. Then one day you just stopped. Rebecca remembered. Tommy was 7. Grace was 2. Rebecca had been teaching 3rd grade at Riverside Elementary. 25 eager 8-year-olds. Marcus had suggested she take a break. Focus on family. They didn't need money. Kids needed her home. She'd planned to return when Grace started school. But then Marcus expanded business. They moved to bigger house. Grace had activities. Tommy had sports. There had always been a reason why now wasn't the right time. I chose to stay home, she told Tommy. The words sounded hollow. Did you? Or did Dad choose for you? How had her 19-year-old son seen what she'd spent years denying? Tommy, Mom, I love Dad, but I've seen how he treats you, the way he decides things for you. Talks about you when you're not around? What do you mean? Like you're not capable of making decisions, like you need him to think for you. Each word was a small knife. Her children had witnessed her diminishment, watched her become smaller year by year. I'm sorry you had to see that. I'm sorry I didn't say anything sooner. I thought it was normal, that all marriages were like that. They're not. I know that now. My roommate's parents are married 30 years. They treat each other like equals. Like friends. Friends. When had she and Marcus stopped being friends? Had they ever been friends? Mom, whatever you decide, I support you. Grace will too, once she understands. After Tommy hung up, Rebecca sat in darkness. Her children's support should have made her feel stronger. Instead, she felt lost, overwhelmed. What if she couldn't go through with it? What if Marcus's retaliation was worse than his control? What if fighting him destroyed what was left of their family? She thought about Frank's investigation. 3 years of careful documentation. Why had he gone to such lengths? What had he seen? The answer was in a folder she'd avoided reading, labeled simply, Rebecca. Inside were photographs, pictures she didn't remember posing for. Frank must have taken them during family gatherings. The progression was devastating. Rebecca at 35, smiling, animated, talking with her hands at Christmas dinner. Rebecca at 40, more subdued, sitting quietly while Marcus dominated conversations. Rebecca at 42, thin, strained, standing behind Marcus in family photos, like she was disappearing. Rebecca at 44, most recent pictures, face blank, eyes empty, going through motions without living. Frank had documented her slow erasure, watched his vibrant daughter fade into a shadow. At the bottom was a letter, Frank's handwriting, shaky from illness but determined. Becca Bird, if you're reading this, you found the courage I always knew you had. I've watched you disappear piece by piece. Watch that man steal your light. I couldn't say anything while I was alive. You weren't ready to hear it, but now you are. You think you're breaking up your family? You're not. You're saving what's left of yourself. Your children need to see what strength looks like, what self-respect looks like. They need to know that love doesn't require surrender. I failed your mother once. Let fear keep me from fighting for what was right. I won't fail you. The evidence in these files is real. Marcus Thompson is a criminal. But more than that, he's a man who destroys what he claims to love. Don't let him destroy you. Use these tools. Fight back. Fight. Show Grace and Tommy what their mother really looks like when she remembers who she is. I believe in you. I always have. Love, Dad. P.S. Agent Sarah Martinez, FBI Financial Crimes Division. She's been waiting for someone brave enough to come forward. Her card is in the blue folder. Rebecca found the business card. Simple. White. Sarah Martinez, Special Agent. Frank hadn't just given her evidence. He'd given her a contact. Someone investigating Marcus's business dealings. Someone waiting for a witness brave enough to speak. The last piece of Frank's plan. But sitting alone in darkness, Rebecca felt anything but brave. She felt small, scared, overwhelmed by what Frank was asking her to do. Take on a man with unlimited resources, risk her children's security, destroy the only life she'd known. What if she failed? What if Marcus's lawyers painted her as unfit mother? What if she lost Grace and Tommy? What if Frank was wrong about her strength? She walked through the small house, her house, free and clear, no mortgage, no strings. A place Marcus couldn't take away. In the bedroom, she found a surprise. A photo on the nightstand. Frank and Rebecca when she was 7, both covered in motor oil after changing transmission together. She was grinning at the camera. Proud, confident, completely unafraid. Independence, Becca Bird. Never depend on anyone to rescue you. That little girl hadn't needed rescuing. She'd been ready to take on the world. When had Rebecca forgotten she was still that girl? When had she started believing she needed Marcus's protection more than her own strength? Rebecca picked up Agent Martinez's card, turned it over in her hands. 24 hours to decide, 18 hours remaining. Come home or face consequences. But Frank had shown her a third option. Fight back. The clock read 11:47. 5 hours until dawn. 5 hours until Marcus expected an answer. Rebecca made her choice. She dialed Agent Martinez's number. Agent Sarah Martinez arrived at 7 in the morning with coffee and bagels. She was younger than Rebecca expected. 40 maybe. Professional but warm. The kind of person who inspired confidence. Thank you for calling, Martinez said, settling at Rebecca's kitchen table. I've been hoping someone would come forward. You know about Marcus? We've been watching his financial activity for 2 years. Your father's documentation fills in many blanks. Martinez opened her briefcase, pulled out files mirroring Frank's investigation. Bank records, surveillance photos, wire transfer receipts. Your husband has been very careful, very smart, but not quite smart enough. Rebecca spread Frank's evidence alongside FBI files. The picture was damning. Marcus hadn't just been hiding money. He'd been laundering it, moving cash for criminal organizations, using real estate business as a front. How long has this been going on? At least 5 years, probably longer. He started small, private clients who needed to move money quietly. Then it escalated. Martinez pointed to wire transfers, large amounts, regular timing. The Kozlov group is particularly interesting. They're suspected of human trafficking, money laundering on international scale. Rebecca's stomach clenched. Human trafficking? Marcus may not know full scope of their activities, but ignorance isn't a defense when you're moving their money. Coffee tasted bitter suddenly. What happens now? That depends on you. We have enough evidence for financial crimes, tax evasion, money laundering. but a cooperating witness would strengthen our case considerably. You mean testify against him? Eventually, yes, but first we need you safe. Men like Marcus don't handle exposure well. Rebecca's phone buzzed. Marcus. Time's up. I'm coming to get you. Martinez read the message. Is he violent? Has he ever hurt you physically? No, but he controls everything. Money, social connections. He could make my life very difficult. Not anymore. The moment you become a federal witness, you get protection, legal immunity, financial assistance, if necessary. What about my children? They're old enough to make their own choices, and frankly, they're probably safer once Marcus is in custody. Rebecca stared at evidence spread across her table. Frank's 3 years of work, FBI's 2 years of investigation, all leading to this moment. What do I have to do? First, we get you somewhere safe. Then we prepare a formal statement. After that, we let Marcus hang himself. A car pulled into the driveway. Marcus's BMW, right on schedule. He's here, Rebecca whispered. Good. Let's see what he does when he realizes he's lost control. They watched through kitchen window as Marcus got out. He wore navy blue suit, his power uniform, important business meeting clothes. This time, he brought backup. A second man emerged from passenger seat. Tall, broad-shouldered, expensive but subtle clothes. The kind of person who solved problems quietly. Friend of yours? Martinez asked. I've never seen him before. Marcus walked to front door. Knocked once. No answer. Tried handle. Still locked. The second man walked around house, checking windows, looking for alternate entrances. Professional, systematic. Private security? Martinez guessed. Or worse, Marcus's voice carried through door. Rebecca, I know you're in there. We need to talk now. Martinez motioned for silence. Pulled out phone. Speed dialed. This is Agent Martinez. I need backup at 1247 Maple Street. Possible intimidation of federal witness. Rebecca's heart pounded. Federal witness. The words made it real, official, no going back. Marcus's knocking became insistent. Rebecca, open this door or I'll open it myself. Empty threat, Martinez whispered. Breaking and entering would be stupid, even for him. But the second man had disappeared around back. Martinez drew her weapon, motioned for Rebecca to stay back. Sound of splintering wood from rear of house. Back door. Being forced. Federal agent, Martinez called. Stop where you are. Footsteps in hallway. Heavy, deliberate. The second man appeared in kitchen doorway. Saw Martinez's gun. Stopped. Hands where I can see them, Martinez ordered. The man raised hands. Smiled slightly. Like this was amusing. Marcus appeared behind him. Took in the scene. Gun. FBI agent. Evidence spread across table. His face went through emotions. Surprise. Understanding. Rage. You called the FBI? Voice very quiet. Very dangerous. I called them 3 weeks ago, Rebecca lied smoothly, when I found Dad's investigation. Timeline was wrong, but Marcus couldn't know that. She wanted him to think FBI had been watching longer. Your father was a paranoid old fool. Was he? Because Agent Martinez seems to think his evidence is compelling. Marcus's gaze moved to files on table. Even from across room, he could see bank statements, business records, 3 years of documentation. You have no idea what you've done, he said. I know exactly what I've done. I've stopped being afraid of you. Sirens wailed in distance, growing closer. Martinez's backup arriving. Marcus looked at his companion. Silent communication passed between them. The second man lowered hands slowly. This isn't over, Marcus said. Yes, it is. No. Absolute certainty. You're still my wife, still my family, and I protect what's mine. Sirens were louder now, very close. Marcus' straightened tie, smoothed hair, mask sliding into place one final time. Agent Martinez, he said pleasantly. I hope you know what you're doing. My wife has been under tremendous stress since her father's death. Grief can make people unreliable. I'll keep that in mind, Martinez replied dryly. Police cars pulled into driveway. Car doors slammed. Footsteps on front porch. Marcus smiled at Rebecca. Take care of yourself, sweetheart. I'll be in touch. He and his companion left through front door, past arriving officers without incident. Nothing illegal about visiting your wife? Nothing criminal about concern for her welfare? Martinez holstered weapon. He's good, I'll give him that. What happens now? Now we prepare. He knows we're coming. That makes him dangerous, but also predictable. Martinez began gathering evidence. We'll need you to make formal statement, detail the financial control, isolation, threats. Will it be enough? Combined with financial evidence? More than enough. One of uniformed officers appeared in kitchen doorway. Agent Martinez? The subjects left the scene. Do you want us to follow? No, let them go. We know where to find them. After police left, Martinez helped Rebecca pack a bag. You can't stay here tonight. Marcus knows where you are now. Where will I go? Safe house, just for a few days while we process everything. Rebecca looked around kitchen. Frank's gift. Her first taste of independence in 22 years. Agent Martinez? What my father did gathering all this evidence, it must have taken enormous courage. It did. But you know what takes more courage. What? Using it. Your father gave you tools, but you're the one who had strength to pick up the phone. Rebecca thought about 7-year-old girl in photograph, covered in motor oil, grinning at camera, completely unafraid. She was still that girl. She'd just forgotten for a while. When do we start? She asked. Martinez smiled. We already have. The safe house was nondescript apartment in suburb 30 miles from Maple Street. Generic furniture, neutral colors, the kind of place that existed to be forgotten. Rebecca sat at kitchen table with Agent Martinez and her partner, Agent David Kim. Between them lay Frank's complete investigation. 3 years of careful work spread like pieces of complex puzzle. Your father was remarkably thorough, Kim said. Older than Martinez. Silver hair, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He documented everything. When did he start? Rebecca asked. Martinez consulted notes. First entry is dated 3 years ago, 2 weeks after Marcus's business expanded into international real estate development. Dad was suspicious from the beginning? Look at this. Kim pointed to folder labeled Timeline. Frank's handwriting filled several pages. Dates, observations, questions that had occurred to retired factory worker watching his son-in-law's sudden wealth. March 15, Marcus bought new BMW. Cash. Claims business is good. March 22, Becca mentions refinancing house. Odd. Why refinance when business is booming? April 3, overheard phone call. Marcus arguing about percentages and clean money. Sounded worried. April 10. Asked Becca about Marcus's new business partners. She doesn't know their names. He was suspicious because Marcus kept you in dark, Martinez explained. Legitimate business partners don't hide activities from family. Rebecca read more entries. Frank's growing concern documented carefully. June 12th. Marcus bought beach house in Delaware. Another cash purchase. Where is all this money coming from? July 4th. Family barbecue. Marcus received 3 phone calls, stepped away each time. Very secretive. August 9th. Becca looks thin, stressed. Asked if everything okay. She says Marcus is working a lot, under pressure. September 15, decided to investigate. If something illegal is happening, Becca needs to know. That's when he started real work, Kim said. Following Marcus, taking photographs, recording conversations. The photographs were devastating. Marcus meeting with known criminals, handshakes in parking garages, briefcase exchanges that looked exactly like what they were. How did Dad get so close without being noticed? Martinez smiled. He was smart. Used Sarah as cover. Told her he was taking up photography as hobby. Bought expensive equipment. Acted like harmless old man learning new technology. Mom knew? About photography, not about investigation. Frank was protecting her too. Rebecca found another folder. Protection plan. Frank's strategy for keeping family safe while gathering evidence. If Marcus is involved with dangerous people, exposure puts everyone at risk. Need exit strategy for Becca before confrontation. Cannot trust local police. Marcus has too many connections. Federal authorities only option, but need ironclad evidence first. Must ensure Becca has financial independence. Cannot escape without resources. House purchase. Create safe space Marcus cannot control or access. Bank account. Provides steady income stream independent of Marcus. Documentation. Evidence strong enough to guarantee prosecution. He thought of everything, Rebecca whispered. He loved you, Kim said simply. Everything he did was about giving you choices. Rebecca's phone buzzed. Grace. Mom, please call me. Dad's acting really weird. He's been on phone all day with lawyers and won't tell me anything. Martinez read message. Marcus is preparing for war. We expected this. My daughter's scared. She should be, but not of us. We're going to make sure she and Tommy are protected. How? Kim opened new file. Witness protection protocols. Your children are adults. They can choose to participate or maintain distance. Either way, we'll monitor their safety. Rebecca called Grace back. Her daughter answered on first ring. Mom, where are you? Dad says you're sick, but you sound fine. I'm fine, sweetheart. Better than I've been in years. Then why won't you come home? Because home isn't safe for me right now. What does that mean? Rebecca chose words carefully. Your father and I have serious problems to work out. I need space to think clearly. Are you really getting divorced? It's likely. Silence. Then, is it because of something I did? No, baby. This is about choices your father made. Choices that have nothing to do with you or Tommy. What kind of choices? Adult things. Business things. I can't explain everything right now, but I promise you'll understand soon. I'm scared, Mom. I know, but Grace, I need you to trust me, and I need you to be careful around your father for next few days. Careful how? Don't be alone with him if you can help it. Stay with friends, or go to Tommy's school. Visit your brother. You're scaring me. I'm keeping you safe. There's a difference. After call ended, Martinez leaned forward. We need to move faster. Marcus is isolating your daughter. Classic control behavior. What do you mean? He's using Grace as leverage, making sure you know he has access to what you love most. The realization hit like physical blow. Of course, Marcus would use children. He'd always use them. Leverage disguised as love. How long do we have? Days, maybe less. Once Marcus realizes scope of our investigation, he'll either run or escalate. Escalate how? Kim exchanged look with Martinez. Men like Marcus don't accept defeat. When they lose control, they become unpredictable. Rebecca thought about man who'd accompanied Marcus to Maple Street. Professional, dangerous. Not the kind you hired for legitimate business. What was your father's exit strategy? Martinez asked. Rebecca found relevant file. Frank's final preparations. Written in shaky handwriting, but plan was clear. When Becca is ready. 1. Contact Agent Martinez. 2. Provide evidence. 3. Secure children's safety. 4. Let federal authorities handle Marcus. 5. Start new life with clean slate. Becca has everything she needs. Resources, evidence, support system. She just needs to remember who she is. He believed in you, Kim said. Question is, do you believe in yourself? Rebecca looked at her reflection in safe house window. 44 years old, still young enough to start over, still strong enough to fight. What happens to Marcus when you arrest him? Federal charges, money laundering, tax evasion, conspiracy, probably racketeering if we can prove ongoing criminal enterprise. How long in prison? 20 to 30 years. Maybe more if we flip him and he testifies against partners. 20 to 30 years. Marcus would be old man when he got out. If he got out. And the children? They'll be adults living their own lives, free to make choices about contact with their father. Free, the word that had started this journey. Rebecca's phone rang. Tommy. Mom, I'm driving down from school. Grace called me crying. She's really scared. Where is she now? At Jenny Morrison's house. But Mom, Dad's been calling her every hour. He wants her to come home. Don't let her. Keep her away from house until I can arrange something. Arrange what? Rebecca looked at Martinez, got nod of approval. I'm working with FBI, sweetheart. Your father's in serious legal trouble. I need you and Grace to stay away from him until this is resolved. FBI? Mom, what the hell is going on? I'll explain everything soon. But right now, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Yeah, of course, but Mom, are we going to be okay? Yes, we're going to be better than okay. After Tommy hung up, Martinez made several calls, arranging surveillance for children, coordinating with local authorities, building net that would keep Marcus's family safe while bringing down his criminal empire. Your father gave you more than evidence, Martinez said finally. He gave you timing. Marcus is panicking, making mistakes. We'll have him within the week. Rebecca thought about Frank's final letter. Show Grace and Tommy what their mother really looks like when she remembers who she is. She was remembering. More than that, she was becoming someone new. Someone who wouldn't accept control disguised as love. Someone who fought back when threatened. Someone who protected what mattered most. Agent Martinez, when you arrest Marcus, I want to be there. That's not standard protocol. I don't care about protocol. I want him to see my face when his world falls apart. I want him to know that the woman he thought he owned brought him down. Martinez smiled. I think your father would approve. Rebecca looked at Frank's photographs one more time. 3 years of evidence. 3 years of love expressed through protection. 3 years of dying man's determination to set his daughter free. Agent Martinez, let's finish what my father started. The surveillance van was cramped, hot, uncomfortable. Rebecca sat between Agent Martinez and Agent Kim, watching video feeds from cameras positioned around Marcus's office building. 3 days of preparation had led to this moment. Federal warrants, coordinated raids, network of law enforcement agencies moving in synchronized precision. Target is in building, came voice through earpieces. 4th floor, northwest corner office. Marcus's real estate empire occupied top 3 floors of downtown high-rise. Glass and steel, modern, expensive, built on foundation of criminal money. Teams in position, Martinez spoke into radio. Wait for my signal. Rebecca watched screens. Agents at every exit. Financial crimes investigators ready to seize records. Coordinated takedown 3 years in making. Her phone buzzed. Grace. Mom, Tommy and I are at his dorm. We're safe. Whatever happens today, we love you. Both children were 2 hours away. Protected. Out of range of whatever Marcus might do when cornered. You don't have to watch this, Kim said gently. Yes, I do. Rebecca needed to see Marcus's face when his carefully constructed world collapsed. Needed to witness moment when his control became powerless. All teams, this is Martinez. Execute. Building erupted in coordinated chaos. Federal agents flooding through entrances. Elevator cars locked down. Stairwells secured. On screens, Rebecca watched Marcus's office. He was on phone, gesturing angrily, unaware that his empire was falling apart 4 floors below. Then someone knocked on his door. Marcus looked up, annoyed. He said something to whoever was outside. Door opened. Agent Martinez's voice came through speaker. Marcus Thompson, you're under arrest. Marcus's face went through emotions, confusion, understanding, rage, then calculation. I want my lawyer, he said. You'll have that opportunity. Please stand up and put your hands behind your back. Marcus complied. Professional, dignified. Even in handcuffs, he maintained composure. But Rebecca could see what others might miss. Slight tremor in hands. Way his jaw clenched. Fury he was barely containing. Marcus Thompson wasn't just angry. He was terrified. Got him, Martinez said into radio. Suspect in custody. Rebecca watched as they led Marcus out of office. Down hallway, into elevator. For 22 years, that man had controlled every aspect of her life. Now he was the one being controlled. How do you feel? Kim asked. Rebecca considered the question. She'd expected triumph, satisfaction, relief. Instead, she felt empty. Not sad, not angry, just empty. Like I'm waking up from a very long dream. They drove to Federal Building in silence. Marcus would be processed there, fingerprinted, photographed, charged with dozen federal crimes. American justice system would decide his fate now. Rebecca's role was almost finished. What happens next? She asked. Arraignment tomorrow. He'll probably make bail, but it'll be substantial. 7 figures minimum. He can afford that. Maybe. but his assets are frozen pending investigation, and his business partners are going to be very unhappy about attention. Rebecca thought about man who'd accompanied Marcus to Maple Street. Professional, dangerous, the kind who didn't tolerate mistakes. Will he be safe in jail? That's not your concern anymore, Martinez said firmly. Your job is to move forward. Build the life your father wanted you to have. They parked outside Federal Building. Rebecca could see news vans gathering. Word was spreading. Local real estate mogul arrested on federal charges. Ready? Martinez asked. Rebecca nodded. She wanted to see Marcus one more time. Wanted him to know that she'd been the one who brought his world down. They entered through side entrance, avoided media circus at front, took elevator to third floor where Marcus was being held. Through one-way window, Rebecca watched her husband of 22 years. He sat at metal table in interview room, still wearing expensive suit, still maintaining composure. But something had changed. Arrogance was gone, replaced by dawning realization that his carefully constructed life was over. Agent Martinez entered room, set thick file on table between them. Mr. Thompson, I'm Agent Martinez. We spoke yesterday. Marcus said nothing. Waiting for lawyer, probably. Your wife has been very helpful. Amazing what 3 years of documentation can accomplish. Marcus's head snapped up. What documentation? Your father-in-law's investigation. Bank records, photographs, wire transfer receipts, everything. For first time since arrest, Marcus's mask slipped completely. That manipulative old bastard. He was protecting his daughter, something you should have been doing instead of exploiting her. I never exploited Rebecca. I gave her everything. Everything except freedom. Marcus leaned back. Where is she? Safe, away from you. I want to see her. That's not going to happen. She's my wife. She's a federal witness, and after today, she'll be your ex-wife. Martinez opened file, spread photos across table. Marcus meeting with criminals, accepting briefcases full of cash, shaking hands with known money launderers. We know about Kozlov Group, about Delaware shell companies, about Cayman accounts. Marcus studied photos. His lawyer still hadn't arrived. He was alone, vulnerable, exactly where Rebecca had been for 22 years. How much does she know? He asked finally. Everything. Rebecca wouldn't betray me. She doesn't have the strength. You're right. The woman you married wouldn't have had strength. But you didn't marry that woman. You created her, broke her down, made her dependent. Martinez leaned forward. But she remembered who she used to be, who her father raised her to be. Frank Morrison was a bitter old man who never accomplished anything. Frank Morrison was a man who loved his daughter enough to spend his final years building her an escape route. Rebecca watched Marcus process this information, saw him realize that Frank's investigation hadn't been paranoid delusion. It had been strategic warfare. What does she want? Marcus asked. Freedom. Something you never gave her. I gave her security, a beautiful home, financial stability. You gave her a cage. Marcus's lawyer arrived then. Expensive suit, confident manner, the kind money could buy. Don't say another word, the lawyer advised. But Marcus ignored him. I want to see my wife. Your wife doesn't want to see you, Martinez replied. She's done with 22 years of psychological abuse. Abuse? Marcus's voice rose. I never touched her. Physical abuse isn't the only kind. Financial control is abuse. Isolation is abuse. Emotional manipulation is abuse. Same words Jen had used. Same truth Rebecca had finally accepted. Agent Martinez, lawyer intervened. My client isn't saying anything else without proper consultation. Martinez gathered photos. That's fine. We have everything we need. She left room, joined Rebecca behind one-way window. How do you feel now? Martinez asked. Rebecca studied Marcus's face. He looked older suddenly, smaller. Without his power and control, he was just a man, a criminal, someone who'd built empire on other people's suffering. I feel sorry for him, she said honestly. Sorry? He spent so much energy controlling me that he forgot to build anything real. No genuine relationships, no authentic connections, just transactions and manipulation. Marcus's lawyer was speaking urgently, probably explaining charges. Evidence. Likelihood of conviction. 20 to 30 years, Rebecca murmured. He'll be old man when he gets out. If he gets out, Martinez corrected. Men like Marcus don't do well in federal prison. They watched as Marcus's composure finally cracked. His head dropped into hands, weight of his situation hitting full force. Mrs. Thompson? Martinez touched her arm gently. You don't have to watch anymore. Rebecca took one last look at man who'd controlled her life for 22 years, sitting alone in federal interview room, handcuffed, powerless. No, she said, I'm done watching. They left building through same side entrance, avoided media, drove back towards safe house in comfortable silence. What happens now? Rebecca asked. You go home, to your real home. Start building the life your father wanted you to have. What about trial? Months away, maybe a year. You'll testify when time comes. But until then, you're free. Free. The word still felt foreign. After 22 years of asking permission for everything, complete autonomy was overwhelming. Agent Martinez, thank you for believing my father, for believing me. Thank your father. He did the hard work. We just finished what he started. They pulled into safe house parking lot. Rebecca's car was waiting, packed with belongings, ready for her to drive to new life. One more thing, Martinez said. Your father left something else. She handed Rebecca a sealed envelope. Found it in his files marked for after. Rebecca opened envelope with shaking hands. Inside was letter in Frank's careful handwriting. Becca Bird, if you're reading this, you found your strength. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. Prouder than I ever was of anything else in my life. You think you've lost 22 years. You haven't. You've learned 22 years worth of lessons about what love isn't. Now you're free to discover what love is. Start with yourself. Remember the girl who changed transmissions and climbed trees and wasn't afraid of anything? She's still in there. Then find someone who sees that girl, who celebrates her instead of trying to diminish her. You deserve love that builds you up. Love that makes you more yourself, not less. I won't be there to walk you down aisle again, but I'll be there in spirit, watching my strong, independent daughter choose someone worthy of her this time. Live fully, Becca Bird. Love fearlessly. Trust your instincts. They've never led you wrong. All my love, Dad. Rebecca read letter twice, then folded it carefully and put it in purse, next to Agent Martinez's business card, next to deed to 1247 Maple Street. All the tools her father had given her for building new life. Ready? Martinez asked. Rebecca looked at safe house. 3 days of her life, but it had felt like coming out of hibernation, remembering who she was before Marcus. Yes, she said, I'm ready. She got into her car, started engine, drove away from safe house toward Maple Street, toward home, toward life Frank Morrison had made possible with 3 years of quiet courage, toward future where Rebecca Thompson remembered what strength looked like. 6 months later, Rebecca stood in courthouse hallway waiting for her divorce to be finalized. The proceedings had been swift, uncontested. Marcus was fighting federal charges. He had no time or resources left to battle her. Tommy sat beside her on wooden bench. Grace was on her other side. Both children had chosen to support her decision, had seen finally what their mother looked like when she stopped apologizing for existing. You okay, Mom? Grace asked. Perfect, Rebecca said, and meant it. Through courthouse windows, she could see early spring garden coming to life. New growth, fresh starts, the world rebuilding after winter. Her lawyer approached. Jennifer Walsh had recommended him, family practice attorney with reputation for protecting abuse survivors. It's done, he said simply. You're free. Free. The word still made her smile. After 6 months of independence, she was beginning to understand what it meant. No one controlled her schedule, her finances, her choices. No one questioned her decisions or made her feel small for having opinions. No one owned her. What happens to Dad? Grace asked quietly. He'll go to prison, Rebecca said, for a long time. Are you happy about that? Rebecca considered the question. Was she happy about Marcus's downfall? About destruction of her children's father? I'm happy that he can't hurt anyone else. I'm happy that his victims will get justice. His victims? Tommy frowned. You mean you? Me. The people whose money he laundered. The families destroyed by human trafficking. The communities damaged by organized crime. Rebecca had learned about Marcus's full involvement during investigation. He hadn't just been moving money. He'd been enabling some of worst crimes imaginable. Your father made choices, she told her children. Now he's facing consequences of those choices. They walked out of courthouse together. April air was warm, promising, full of possibility. Lunch? Tommy suggested. To celebrate? What are we celebrating? Grace asked. Mom's freedom, Tommy said simply. Rebecca smiled. Her son understood, had always understood, even when she couldn't see it herself. They drove to a small restaurant near Maple Street. Nothing fancy, just family-owned place with good food and honest prices. The kind Marcus would have dismissed as beneath them. Rebecca ordered whatever she wanted, not what Marcus would approve of, not what looked appropriate for wealthy man's wife, just food that sounded good. Another small act of independence. Mom, Grace said over salads, can I ask you something? Anything. Were you ever really happy? With Dad, I mean. Huh. The question was harder than expected. Rebecca thought about 22 years of marriage, looking for moments of genuine happiness. At first, she said honestly, when we were dating, before I understood who he really was. What changed? I did, or he made me change. I became smaller, quieter, less myself. But you're different now, Grace observed. How? You laugh more. You have opinions about things. You seem more real. More real. Grace had captured something Rebecca hadn't been able to articulate. For 22 years, she'd been performing the role of Marcus's wife, playing character instead of being herself. I am more real, Rebecca agreed. Your grandfather helped me remember who I really am. After lunch, they drove to cemetery. Frank's headstone was simple. Granite. Understated. Like the man himself. Frank Morrison, beloved husband and father. He taught his daughter to fly. Rebecca knelt beside grave. Placed fresh flowers, daffodils, Frank's favorites. Frank's. We did it, Dad, she whispered. Marcus is going to prison. The kids are safe. I'm free. Warm breeze rustled trees. Rebecca chose to interpret it as approval. I'm going back to teaching. Riverside Elementary has opening for next fall. 4th grade. She'd interviewed the week before. Principal remembered her, welcomed her back with genuine enthusiasm. We missed you, Rebecca. The kids always loved your classroom. Rebecca had missed it too. Missed energy of young minds, satisfaction of helping children discover their potential, purpose that came from meaningful work. I'm also thinking about dating, she admitted to Frank's grave. Eventually, when I'm ready. The thought still seemed foreign. She'd been married so long that independence felt like complete identity. But Frank's letter had planted a seed. Possibility of love that built up instead of tearing down. I'll be careful this time, I promise. Tommy and Grace waited by car, giving her space to say goodbye. They understood importance of this moment. Rebecca stood, brushed dirt from knees, took one last look at her father's grave. Thank you, she said, for everything. They drove home to Maple Street. Home. The word felt right now. 1247. Maple Street was home in way Marcus's mansion had never been. Rebecca had redecorated over winter. Bright colors, comfortable furniture, books everywhere. Plants that she chose because she liked them, not because they matched designer's vision. House reflected her personality now, her choices, her preferences, her life. Movie night? Grace suggested. What do you want to watch? Something Dad would have hated, Grace said with grin. They settled on romantic comedy. Light, funny, optimistic. Everything Marcus would have dismissed as frivolous. Rebecca made popcorn, real butter, extra salt. Another small rebellion against years of controlled eating. During movie, her phone buzzed. Text from Jen. Wine tasting next weekend? There's someone I want you to meet. Rebecca stared at message. Someone Jen wanted her to meet. A man, probably. The idea was terrifying, exciting, overwhelming. She typed back, maybe. Can I think about it? Of course, no pressure. But he's a teacher too. Recently divorced. Very kind. kind. When had Rebecca last been with a man who was simply kind? I'll let you know. Movie ended. Tommy and Grace headed home to pack for their respective schools. Rebecca was alone in her house, her sanctuary. She walked through rooms slowly. Kitchen where she cooked what she wanted. Living room where she read books Marcus would have found boring. Bedroom where she slept peacefully without walking on eggshells. In Frank's honor, she'd kept one photo from old life, her wedding picture. But she'd cropped it, removed Marcus entirely. Now it showed just her, 22 years old, beautiful, hopeful, ready to begin. Rebecca picked up phone, called Jen back. Tell me about this teacher. His name is David. David Crawford. He teaches high school history. 2 kids grown and out of house. His ex-wife was difficult. Difficult how? Controlling. Sound familiar? It did. Perhaps David would understand what she'd been through. Perhaps they could help each other heal. What does he look like? Tall, gray hair, kind eyes, gentle hands. The kind of man who would never make you feel small. The kind of man who would never make you feel small. Rebecca's heart did something unexpected, fluttered with possibility. Okay, she said. Wine tasting sounds nice. Really? Really? But Jen? I'm terrified. Of course you are. You've been alone for 6 months. But Rebecca, you're ready. I can see it. How can you tell? Because you're asking about him instead of making excuses. Because you're curious instead of afraid. After they hung up, Rebecca sat in her living room, surrounded by evidence of her new life. Books, plants, comfortable furniture. Freedom made tangible. Frank's letter was framed on the mantel, the part about finding someone worthy of her this time. Maybe she was ready. Maybe 6 months of independence had given her enough strength to risk love again. Real love this time. The kind that built up instead of tearing down. The kind her father had always wanted her to have. Rebecca looked at her wedding photo again. The young woman in white who'd thought security was the same as love. Who'd mistaken control for protection. That woman was gone. In her place stood someone stronger. Wiser, more careful but not afraid. Someone who knew the difference between love and ownership. Someone who deserved better than she'd settled for before. Someone ready to fly. 1 year later, Rebecca stood in her classroom at Riverside Elementary. 25 fourth graders sat at their desks, working on writing assignments. Afternoon sun streamed through windows she'd decorated with their artwork. Mrs. Thompson? A small hand went up. Emma Rodriguez. Bright eyes, curious mind. Can you help me with this word? Rebecca walked over, knelt beside Emma's desk. The word was independence. It means being able to take care of yourself, Rebecca explained. Making your own choices, being free to be who you really are. Emma nodded seriously, wrote the definition in careful cursive. Rebecca watched her students work, each one discovering their own voice, their own potential. Teaching again felt like coming home, not to a place, but to herself, to the woman she'd been before Marcus, before she'd learned to make herself smaller. Her phone buzzed quietly. Text from David Crawford. Good day? Can't wait to hear about the science experiment. Rebecca smiled. David. 6 months of coffee dates that became dinner dates that became weekend mornings together. 6 months of learning what healthy love looked like. He never questioned her choices, never made her feel foolish for having opinions, never tried to control her schedule or decisions. Instead, he celebrated her independence, encouraged her dreams, made her feel more like herself, not less. Wonderful day. The volcano was a huge success. See you at 7? Wouldn't miss it. Love you. Love you. Rebecca still felt a flutter when he said those words. Not the desperate attachment she'd felt with Marcus. Not the fear of disappointing or losing him. Just warm affection, genuine care. The kind of love Frank had described in his letter. Okay, class, Rebecca announced. Time to clean up. Remember, your poems about courage are due tomorrow. 25 young voices responded. Chatter and laughter and the beautiful chaos of children learning. Rebecca had assigned the poetry project in honor of Frank. She wanted her students to understand that courage came in many forms. Sometimes it was loud and dramatic. Sometimes it was quiet and patient. Sometimes it was a dying man spending his final years building his daughter an escape route. After the children left, Rebecca sat at her desk grading papers. Each poem revealed something different about courage. Firefighters running into burning buildings, parents working multiple jobs to support their families, kids standing up to bullies, and one from Emma Rodriguez that made Rebecca's breath catch. Courage is when my mom left my dad, even though she was scared, and now she smiles more and teaches me I'm strong too. Rebecca wiped her eyes. Put a star on Emma's paper. Added a note, beautiful work. Your mom sounds very brave. Her phone rang. Grace. Mom, I got accepted to Northwestern pre-med program. Oh, sweetheart, congratulations. Grace had decided to become a doctor, specifically a psychiatrist specializing in trauma recovery. She wanted to help other women who'd survived what her mother had endured. I know it's expensive. We'll figure it out, Rebecca assured her. We always do. Rebecca's teaching salary was modest, but combined with Frank's trust fund and child support from Marcus's seized assets, they were comfortable. Not wealthy, but secure. More importantly, they were happy. Mom, thank you. For what? For showing me what strength looks like, for teaching me that I don't have to accept less than I deserve. After Grace hung up, Rebecca finished grading papers, locked her classroom, walked to her car in the faculty parking lot. The early October air was crisp, beautiful, full of the promise of change. She drove home to Maple Street. David's car was already in the driveway. He had a key now, used it when she was running late. The trust required for that simple gesture still amazed her. Giving someone access to her space, her sanctuary, without fear that he would violate or control it. In the kitchen, he called when she opened the front door. She found him stirring something that smelled incredible. Pasta sauce with herbs from the garden they'd planted together. How was the volcano, he asked, kissing her cheek. Spectacular. Emma Rodriguez's erupted all over Marcus Peterson's desk. On purpose? Definitely on purpose. Marcus has been teasing her about her accent. David grinned. Sounds like Emma has some of her teacher's fire. They ate dinner on the back porch. Watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and orange. David told her about his AP history students. She told him about the courage poems, easy conversation, comfortable silences. The kind of relationship that felt like partnership instead of performance. Rebecca, David set down his wine glass. I have something to ask you. Her heart skipped. They'd been together 6 months, talked about the future in general terms, but David had been patient, understanding that she needed time to trust again. What is it? Move in with me. Not a demand, not an ultimatum, a request, an invitation. David, I know it's a big step. I know you love this house, your independence. I'm not asking you to give up anything. Then what are you asking? To share our independence. Keep your house if you want. Use it as an office, a retreat, whatever makes you comfortable. Rebecca looked around the back porch, her sanctuary, the place Frank had given her to rebuild her life. Can I think about it? Of course, take all the time you need. That night, after David went home, Rebecca sat in her living room, surrounded by a year's worth of new memories, teaching again, dating again, laughing again, being herself again. She thought about Frank's letter, about finding someone worthy of her this time. David was worthy, kind, gentle, respectful of her autonomy, but was she ready? She walked upstairs to the bedroom, found the box of Frank's letters and investigation files. She'd kept everything, not because she needed it anymore, but because it represented something important. Evidence of love in action, a father's determination to set his daughter free. At the bottom of the box was a letter she'd never opened, marked for when you're ready to love again. Rebecca broke the seal with trembling fingers. Becca Bird, if you're reading this, you found someone special, someone who sees your worth, who celebrates your strength instead of trying to diminish it. I'm proud of you for being brave enough to try again. Love isn't about finding someone to complete you. You're already complete. Love is about finding someone to share your completeness with. Someone who makes you more yourself, not less. Trust your instincts, sweetheart. They've always been good. You just forgot to listen to them for a while. If this man makes you feel safe without making you feel small, if he encourages your dreams without trying to control them, if he loves the woman you've become instead of trying to change her, then he's worthy of Frank Morrison's daughter. And that's the highest praise I know how to give. Be happy, Becca Bird. You've earned it. All my love always, Dad. Rebecca read the letter 3 times. Then she picked up her phone. David, are you awake? Always, for you. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. The answer is yes. Yes? Yes, I'll move in with you. Yes, I want to share our independence. Yes, I'm ready. Silence on the other end. Then, are you sure? I'm sure. My father would approve. I wish I could have met him. You would have liked each other. You're both men who understand that love means setting someone free, not trapping them. 6 months later, Rebecca and David were married in her backyard on Maple Street, a small ceremony. Close friends and family. Tommy walked her down the aisle. Grace was her maid of honor. Jen officiated. She'd gotten ordained online specifically for the occasion. Do you, Rebecca, take David to be your partner in all things? To support his dreams while pursuing your own? To love him while remaining completely yourself? I do. Do you, David, take Rebecca to be your partner in all things? To celebrate her independence while sharing your own? To love her for exactly who she is? I do. Simple vows, honest promises, nothing about obedience or submission, everything about partnership and mutual respect. Marcus had been sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. He'd sent a letter through his attorney. Rebecca had thrown it away without reading it. She was done with his version of love, ready for the real thing. After the ceremony, Rebecca visited Frank's grave, still in her wedding dress. David waited in the car, giving her privacy. I found him, Dad. The man you described in your letter. Someone who makes me more myself, not less. The late spring breeze rustled the oak trees. Rebecca chose to interpret it as blessing. Thank you. For everything. For seeing what I couldn't see. For building me a bridge to freedom. For believing I was strong enough to cross it. She placed her wedding bouquet on the grave. Daffodils and daisies. Simple flowers. Beautiful flowers. Like the life Frank had made possible. Rebecca walked back to the car. To David. To their shared future. She was 46 years old. Starting over. Starting fresh. Starting free. In the rear-view mirror, she could see Frank's headstone growing smaller, but she carried his love with her, his wisdom, his unshakable belief in her worth. She was Frank Morrison's daughter. She'd forgotten for a while, but she remembered now. And Frank Morrison's daughter was afraid of nothing, nothing at all. If Rebecca's story touched your heart, if Frank's courage inspired you, or if you know someone who needs to hear that they're stronger than they think, I have a favor to ask. Hit that like button to let me know this story reached you. Your likes tell me which stories matter most to you. Drop a comment below. Share your thoughts. Have you ever witnessed quiet courage like Frank's? Do you know a Rebecca in your life? Your words create a community where we support each other. And if you believe these stories need to be heard, share this video. You never know who might need to hear that love should never feel like a prison. Most importantly, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Because every week I bring you stories of ordinary people finding extraordinary strength. Stories that remind us that we're never as powerless as we think. Your subscription isn't just a number to me. It's a signal that these stories matter. That real courage deserves to be celebrated. Thank you for taking this journey with Rebecca and Frank. Thank you for believing that broken doesn't mean defeated. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember what Frank taught his daughter. You have everything you need to be free. You just have to be brave enough to use it. Take care of yourselves and each other.